How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Chaoschild. So it feels like it's been forever. I think I only missed 1 week because I got sick, but in reality, I had pre-recorded in order for me to go and do a training, and so I haven't played this in about 3 weeks. And I have unfortunate news that tonight, while we're recording it, I also am very much on the clock. I have had a lot I had to do. I'm trying to make sure I record this in time before any hiccups could come into play. However, I also have to get to sleep at some point tonight. So this episode really cannot be longer than an hour. Really. It just can't be. I just don't have the time. I have to get rest. So I'm not going to do this for too long. I'm going to jump right into it because I don't want to dally too much. Basically, exploring the new evidence, trying to track down who's connected to what. There's some really interesting machinations going on in the background. Obviously, we have a lot further to go, so I'm really excited to kind of see where things happen. I'm very much enjoying the game, though, which is why it's kind of a shame, but it's also basically, the choice is this. Either I don't get to record as long as I normally would like to, and this might be a shorter episode than normal, or we don't get one this week and I have to wait till next week. I figured you'd rather have a shorter episode where not as much happens than no episode, so let's just jump in and do it. All right, 2-minute walk from the Yoyogi Park Station. This private clinic, 20 minutes away from the heart of Shibuya, was loved by the locals for its homey, comfortable atmosphere. Okay. Oh, the clinic offered internal and pediatric medical services. It's like a doctor's office. Wait, why would a doctor's office be, it was loved by the locals? I mean, I guess it could be a favorite spot, but it's not like I sit around going, you know what? It's been a while. Let's go visit the doctor. That place was fun. Had no facilities to allow someone to stay overnight. The wait was 10 minutes at worst. Some days it was more common to find the director's drinking buddies and there telling baldy stories than it was to find patients. The only full-time doctor was the clinic's director. He had 2 nurses. The only times it ever got busy were during flu shot season and when the director's neighborhood baseball team had its annual tournament.
かしいな。ここにねってことは。
Who are you? And why are you here? The clinic's 2nd floor. Oh, it's like a little apartment. This floor was a living room, kitchen, and bath, with the 3rd floor for the rooms for the children formed a group home known as Oba Dormitory. Oh, okay. This must be, so it's a clinic, but it's also the pseudo-orphanage. I gotcha. Interesting. That's really interesting. There were no signs identifying it outside, so if you just walked by the building, you'd have no way of knowing that the upper floors were an orphanage. Is this an investigator, or is this like the homeless guy? Oh no.
もうちょっとだから。
ちげえよ。 薬がどこ行ったかって。
Tsukuma Wataru, the director of the Odoba Clinic and Odoba Dormitory, looked at the dinner lined up on the table and froze. So he's just okay, so this is I guess a Good Samaritan type. There's no way there's gonna be anything malicious about this dude, right? But no, he sounds pretty good so far. Boiled vegetables, white fish with plum, tofu hamburg steak, natto, rolled omelet with shiso leaves. Wow, that's quite a spread. The oldest girls of the dorm have been in charge of cooking ever since she came here when she was in 6th grade. Every year, she started cooking more and more like an old woman.
お前な、おばあちゃんじゃねえんだから、肉とかよ。
Cook some meat.
腹回りの贅肉を減らしてから言ってちょうだい。嫌ですからね。老後に高血圧治療の面倒見るの。
Oh my gosh. Kurusu, you can't be just destroying people like that. Aw, poor guy. He looks kind of nice though. He kind of reminds me of like an old gone to seed Harry Potter.
食べ盛りもいるってのね。ああ、sure.
Sakuma pressed his hands up against his temples and rubbed them.
どうしたの？
ロキないか見当たらねえんだよ。
The loxoprofen, the ibuprofen. Okay.
何？頭痛？
ああ。
か。ってちょっと待って。もしかして二日酔い？
Okay. So, yeah. All right. Wife Kurusu. Really, really making a compelling argument here. That outfit alone is insane. But look at that. Whew. Yeah, like any person, male, female, I don't care who you are. You come home, she's in the kitchen making you food. You're just gonna be in love. I don't care. Like she's like so just she does like everything. She's the student council president. She's in the newspaper club, and she cooks food for everyone when she goes home. That's crazy, especially for a high school student. Sakuma moaned a little. Kurusu smiled gently at him, still holding the kitchen knife.
父さん、そもそも課長で医者であるあなたが病院の仕事手伝ってるとはいえ、見習い看護師以下で娘である私に薬の場所を聞くのも問題ですけど。
That's the danger smile. Careful, dude.
よりによって二日酔いですって？昨日の夜、残った事務仕事を私が片付けてる時に晩酌してたの？
Okay. Yep. Like it's a father-daughter relationship. Nothing weird there, but she just does sound like a housewife, doesn't she?
いや、仕事は俺だってしてたぞ。
Oh yeah, I wasn't just drinking. I was working.
じゃあ、仕事中に飲んでたってことね。そんな酔っ払いに出せる薬はありません。あと、1週間禁酒にしますから。
Oh my gosh.
はあ？おい、ノノ、冗談だろ。
できた。二人とも呼んできて。
Plus, you think that face is joking?
ごちそうさま。おいしかった。ごちそうさま。はい、お粗末さま。お茶入れるね。ゆう、手伝って。
Alright, I want to hear that again. Like, also sama. Like, and then she said,
はい、お粗末さま。
also otsama.
はい、お粗末さま。
Also otsama. Am I saying that right? Also otsama. Cool. Man, I need to learn Japanese. Like, I keep getting closer by tiny bits, just by pure exposure. And if I could just put energy into it, I'm sure I could learn it. But the problem is, I'm terrible at just learning by books. I need an instructor. I want to take a class. I want to be able to have practice conversations. And I really don't like reaching out to random people on the internet to do it. I'm so picky. Those two are cute. Her little brother nodded, and together they took the plates the four of them had been eating on in the kitchen. To the kitchen. It was their job to clean up. Tachibana Yui and Tachibana Yuto were brother and sister. They were the only two siblings of the Aoba dorm who were actually related by blood. The rest of the neighborhood had thought it was cute how they were always together. The Shibuya earthquake had occurred when Yui was in 2nd grade and Yuto was only 6 and hadn't started school. After the earthquake, the two of them had come to Aoba dorm. Okay, so it's been 6 years. So if she's in 2nd grade, that put her at like she couldn't have been she must have been like 7 or 8, right? Like must have been like 8. So now that would mean that 8 plus 6, I can do basic math. So she'd be 14 and he'd be 12. The two of them had been depressed for a long time between the shock of losing their parents and the experience of the earthquake's aftermath. Now they'd made it to the 2nd year of middle school for Yui and the last year of elementary school for Yuto.
ノノ、明日の夕飯は先に食べてていいぞ。
During the meal, Sakuma had complained about Nono's ban on his drinking, but Yui told him he'd brought it on himself. He'd spent the rest of dinner muttering to himself, but now he's calmed down a little.
最近バタついてるからよ。
嫌です。温め直すのめんどくさいもの。それに。
Plus, you're an adult. Do some yourself.
バラバラに食事するのって好きじゃないの。できるだけ家族揃って食べたい。
I want to do this more often too. It's so easy to get just caught up in life, and now that we all have little pocket distractions everywhere we go. It's so easy to just be like, oh, look at the time. Whole day's gone. Oh, well. Aw.
でも、バタついてるってどうしたの？
Kurusu checked the clock as she spoke. It was almost 9. Adobe Clinic closes at 6:30 p.m. It was often open after 7 p.m. by the time Sakuma finished his paperwork and came up the stairs. Kurusu would have dinner ready around that time. But it was true that lately he'd been coming up later and later. Sakuma shrugged as he said he wasn't sure why exactly, but...
大学の後輩が渋谷でやってる医院もそうだし、ここらのでっけえ病院、代々木の AH 東京総合病院とかよ。最近忙しいらしいんだよ。
Yeah, like probably lots of headaches and migraines and all that stuff that, happens when people start messing with, mass delusions.
の
あ、ごめん。それで？
She's worried.
ま、復興祭が近いから、浮かれて怪我するやつが増えてるんじゃねえかとか、それに合わせて例の症候群をもう一度見直す動きがあるとか、いろいろ言われてんだけどよ。
Right, the syndrome, it's getting big. And that's the other thing too, is it's like, this is also like, that's what the NOAA device did, is it tended to inflame emotions, because when people's emotions were running rampant, it was kind of like the catalyst that needed to allow delusions to happen.
見直すって、6年経って今更？
I really don't like that. Like, this is really pointing that we're just gonna repeat history again.
わかりやすく復興して治ってんのは街の外観だ。ここはそう簡単に治らねえからな。
Oh, that's very true. Trauma runs deep, real deep. Like, especially stuff like that. Like, there are people to this day who still like can't get past on a psychological level the trauma of 9/11. I can't imagine what's happening to all the people in places like Ukraine and Gaza and just all these other places. They're just being, just caught up in all the tumultuous, super politics that are just like casting aside, the lives of normal people to try and mete out like whatever those motivations are to do what they're doing. I can't pretend to understand it. I understand human suffering though. I don't like that. And I don't care how justified you feel, like it's always a tragedy when people are getting hurt. Sakuma patted himself on the chest.
うちの患者は別に普段と変わらねえんだけどよ。その後輩やら知り合いやらからなんだかんだと頼まれるのが多くなってんだよ。おかげで肩こって仕方ねえ。
Oh yeah, that tracks. After her father rotated his shoulders to stretch them out, Nono told him he was doing a good job. He normally looked like a goofball, but Kurusu knew that he was reliable when it counted. Yeah, I aspire to be like Kurusu's dad. Like, that better be me in like 20 years. Just be this like, just nice, comfortable old dude who is just a reliable person who just gets stuff done and can make things fun to be around. Like that just sounds like me. Well, she's gonna try to be a psychopath, because I was really vibing with like the last game. I vibed with characters who either were immediately just killed or turned out to be psychopaths. So I got a great track record. Oh wait, did I read that? Adobe Clinic was far enough from Shibuya that it hadn't been damaged during the earthquake, and so it had remained open. She'd heard that Sakuma had taken in patients with minor wounds, a field that was outside his specialty, and treated them. When she helped at the clinic's front desk, the patients would often tell her how grateful tales about what he'd done for them. Yeah, it's also one of those things too, like so his specialization is probably pediatrics, and probably his kids, right? And like he might tend some basic wounds, but when she's talking about like minor wounds, it's minor in scale. So what we would consider a minor wound might be like something that needs a few stitches, right? But in a disaster, minor injuries are like broken like bones or like deep laceration, stuff that we would normally send to a hospital, but in a disaster, that's just never going to happen. So being able to perform these like relatively minor surgeries in comparison to some of the crazy stuff that happened to people, like that's most likely what it means. So it's like these are like life-saving things that he was doing, stuff that had to be done, that people needed help and were in a desperate amount of pain, but were not able to go to a hospital because it was too hard to get to, and it would be inundated with people who were in like the most dire situations.
どうしたのこの梨。
パーラー西野で安売りしてたの。いただきまーす。
It's a pear for dessert. Yep. Talk about good dieting here. It's like, oh, we're having a treat. It's dessert. We're having a pear. I eat pears because I'm trying to be like conscientious and whatever that word is. I'm trying to be mindful of what I'm eating. So I would have a pear as opposed to like, I don't know, a cookie. Yui and Yuto had come back from the kitchen with tea and a sliced pear. She stuck a toothpick in the sliced pear as she spoke.
甘くて美味しい。ああ、ゆい、ポン酢買っといてくれた？今日、底根でしょ？
Ponzo, I don't know what that is.
うん。お一人様1個までだったから、ユウ連れて2個ゲットしてきた。あ、そうだ、いつものスーパー、タイムセールの時間変わるって。
Oh, that's good to know. And this is definitely like the conversation we're having here is setting the stage and helping us understand that, like a rural lifestyle. Not a rural lifestyle, what am I talking about? A modest lifestyle where a pear is a treat you occasionally would pick up, where you pay attention to all the sales to make sure you can take the best advantage of them so you can stretch out your dollars or your yen as much as possible. Like, it's how I grew up. It wasn't like destitute. That's why I don't get the feeling of destitute here, but you get the sense that like they don't have just a lot of excess lying around. They don't have the means to just go and do whatever they want. It's kind of like I said, it's kind of reminiscent almost.
嘘。
1時間遅くなるんだって。
あ
あ、困るな。夕ご飯の買い物どうしようかな。
Yeah, because like if they were going for the sales to prep for dinner, like that, if it's an hour later, that would push their dinner an hour later.
あと、風呂場の洗剤切れそうだったよ。あの白のパッケージの。
それは週末のセールを待ってる。
どこの？
青木薬局。
クーポンあるよ。
Oh, sweet.
ほんと？助かる。
Because sale plus coupon equals real good deal.
そうだ、ベランダ見た？洗濯物干す方の角のとこ。
え？何？
苔生えてるの、びっしり。
Oh no.
それが？
なんとかしないと、そのうち赤ダニが湧くの。
I would be more concerned about the mold getting in your lungs, but what are red mites?
やだ。私だって嫌です。というか、私が一番嫌。
Okay, I'm guessing they're bugs or something? Hello, hello.
何？さっきから。喉痛いの？
Look how grumpy they look. They're like, excuse us, we're having a civilized conversation here. Why are you interrupting? We have to run this household, unlike you. So good. God, they're really hamming this up. I have this horrible impending doom feeling. Something awful is going to happen to this little family dynamic because otherwise it's way too wholesome.
風邪？ちょっとありえないんですけど、お医者さんでしょ？
Hey, he probably gets sick more than most people. He's around sick people all the time.
看病するの私たちなんですからね。ただでさえ寝汗が多くて洗濯が大変だって言うのに。
Oh my gosh. Calm down. Poor dude.
少しは痩せてよ。だいたい父さんの食費だけで月にいくら。
I also apparently like this is another thing I just from hearsay, but you know because obesity is such a non-problem in Japan, like on the scale, they apparently do tend to be extra critical and kind of rude to people who are overweight. Which is, and it's also kind of funny too because it's like I've worked really hard. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm doing pretty good, but with the like what remains plus like the extra skin that's left over, I'm sure that everyone I would see if I were to go to Japan would think I'm overweight. And like in a way they're kind of right, but like man, I'm a champion. I lost 200 pounds. I should be proud of that. I know, man. I get that. That feels so real. Sakuma slammed his teacup down on the desk. He'd reached the limits of his patience.
No. ゆい、話がある。ちょっと座れ。
Like, you need to stop emasculating me.
座ってんじゃん。
あのな、お前ら。
Sakuma pressed down his temples again, and he wondered where to begin. It felt like his headache was getting worse. But in the end, he couldn't come up with any ideas except to say it directly.
もう少し高校生と中学生らしくできねえのか。
Stop talking like your grandmas!
Huh?
The two of them looked at him like they didn't know what he was talking about.
のの、お前趣味なんだ。
何急に。
いいからよ、趣味は。
What do you do for fun?
部屋の掃除。
Oh my gosh, go outside.
ゆいは。
セールのチラシ集め。
You two need to freaking... You're like the home ec version of like shut-in neats. Go touch some grass. Go play some games. I watch television. Sakuma, I feel it, man. I'm the same way. It's just like, can you please don't get a head start in your retirement? Like, you should be having fun, doing crazy stuff. I should be having to like pull you out of like parties or something. Like, what's with this? Like, why? Just go enjoy yourselves. The two of them kept eating their pear slices, unsure what he was getting at. And then they continued the conversation, saying, "What's his problem? Must be terrible getting all..." Oh no.
座れ。
Right to the soul.
座りなさい。
座ってるって。
お前ら何歳のうちから初対地見てんだ。セールがどうの、食費がどうの、学生の会話が。
家のことは任せるって言ったのは父さんでしょ？
But I don't think he meant for you to become 30-year-old housewives. Kurusu ran the Aoba dorm's budget, and Yui helped her.
もっと遊べっつってんだ。ライブ行ったり、服買ったりよ。
Exactly. I just love this though. This looks great.
別にいいよ。ネットで聞けるもん。
That's fair.
言われなくても服はフリマとかで買ってます。いいのないときは自分で作っちゃうもの。
Dang, girl. She makes her own clothes. Oh, dude, she'd be fantastic if we could get her into cosplay. She's definitely got the means for it. She could be a very successful cosplayer.
ちゃんとしすぎなんだよ。あんな、隙のない女はモテねえぞ。
Wait, what's his logic here? You're so perfect you'll never get boyfriends. Okay. They might not get lame high school boyfriends because all guys and girls in high school tend to just be idiots. You know, like I was too. But they're gonna go like to college and they're gonna find like the perfect guy who like just wants to have a partner to help him get through his law degree or medical school, and then they're gonna be just living large, you know, having that perfect family dynamic with 2.5 kids and all that good stuff.
クラスの子供っぽい男子になんか興味ありません。
See, I totally get it. Absolutely. I definitely dated in high school. But I have mad respect for the people who didn't. My brother's a perfect example where like, I even asked him, like, I was kind of wondering, I was like, so you interested in anybody? He's like, kind of, but not really. And I was like, why? Like, what do you mean? Like, he's like, well, I mean, I've had crushes and stuff, but he's like, but I've never felt that like it was worth investing tons of time into when I knew deep down it was like, it wasn't more than just like a physical attraction. He's like, I want a meaningful relationship when I get in one. And so I'm going to focus on those types of relationships. And they just aren't really around right now. High school is just not the place where I see that happening. And he's right. He didn't really go on any dates in high school, but he went to dates in college and now he's married.
あと、のの姉は中等部じゃアイドルだから。
Oh, really?
そうなの？
Yeah, like, how? Of course, Yui nodded. Yui went to Hekiko Academy's middle school, which was located close to the academy itself. The high school and middle school did a lot of activities together, and Kurusu had got to the latter part before as part of her student council president job. Okay, so she just left a really good impression like the 1 or 2 times she went over there. That makes a bit more sense. Kurusu chuckled. Oh, look at that pose. All right, we might have our thumbnail right here. Look at that. We haven't seen her in that pose yet, but look, she looks like kind of like somberly pleased.
こっちじゃどっちかっていうと怖がられてるんだけどね。
Well, you do death glare a lot.
彼氏の一人もいねえのか。お前の浮いた話聞いたことないぞ。
クラスの子供っぽい男子になんか興味ありません。
You two are just like your siblings in every way that actually matters.
へえ、そっちも男子ってそうなの？
Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't change very much.
年頃の男子なんて何歳でも一緒でしょ。
Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of true. I mean, you'll have responsible, mature boys in high school. They're few and far between. I tend to think of myself as that, but like in hindsight, maybe I wasn't. I just wasn't like buck wild or do anything really crazy. I was too wholesome and too terrified to break rules. Good as you sipped her tea with a smirk.
ブラコンめ。
Oh, fetch! Holy crap. No, you can't just say that. What? And then she spat out like she'd been struck with a bullet. Kurusu. That coughing rings of called out truth, not just like that's absurd, which you're gonna say in a second. Like that's ridiculous. But your response isn't equivalent to that. It should have been like, ugh.
ののね、大丈夫？ゆ、ティッシュ。
Kurusu coughed as she took the tissue from you and wiped down the desk.
変なこと言わないでちょうだい。
Her face was bright red as she yelled at Sakuma.
お前はタクルに構いすぎなんだよ。そんなんだと他の男が寄ってこないぞ。
I mean, he's probably not wrong.
そんなことないです。あ、いや、寄ってきてるって意味じゃなくて。
I mean, they aren't, but I don't think it's that. Kurusu waved her hand, annoyed. To be fair, your vice president absolutely wants you. Like, he's absolutely head over heels for her, I guarantee it. Because he hates Takuru because he sees him as a threat that doesn't know he's a threat, and it pisses him off.
とにかく、あの子は。
There's nothing worse than a rival that doesn't even know the game he's playing, and he's still beating you. That's gotta be the worst. Oh, all right. She's not depressed about him.
ののね。
Kurusu threw the tissue in the garbage can without answering.
言うとはこないだユイが言ってただろう。ほら、同じクラスの今野さんだがなんだか。
Oh?
違うよ。いや、違わないけど。
It's not true. I mean, it's true. She's like in my class, but now it was Yudo's turn to turn red.
そうだ、それ、どうなったの？やっぱりラブレターだったんでしょ？
Oh my gosh, what a gutsy kid. It probably didn't go very well though. It often doesn't.
隠し事はなしでしょ？どうなの？
Oh. Yuto shrank back into his chair, his tiny body becoming even smaller. Then he nodded. Yui leaned forward, excited. Oh gosh.
徳田くんに。
Uh-oh.
徳田くんにバレて、それで。
Yui's expression switched from jovial to serious.
何？からかわれた？
Yeah, of course he did. Middle school, or elementary school. After a short pause, Yuto nodded.
ゆう、ダメだよ。嫌なものは嫌って言わないと。そういうのに慣れたら気づかないうちに曲がってくんだから。
She's right.
でも、もしまたいじめられたりしたら、姉ちゃんにいいな。やり返してやるから。
Unfortunately, that would actually probably make it worse, not better.
ゆい、女の子がそういうこと言わないの。
お前が言うか？
You're one to talk. Yeah, he's freaking right.
どういう意味？
There were two rules at Adobe dorm. Aoba. I keep saying Adobe, but no, it's Aoba dorm. Aoba dorm. After dinner, everyone would gather around the table to talk, and no one was allowed to keep secrets. When Sakuma decided to open an orphanage after the earthquake, he first picked the name Alba Dorm, and the second thing he decided were those rules. The four of them talked until around 10 p.m. when Yuta started to yawn. Telling each other about their daily lives is how they kept themselves grounded. That's such a good idea. Man, I need to do that. I need to make time for stuff like that.
入るよ。
Kurusu entered the empty room knowing there wouldn't be an answer. She started by wiping down the desk and then moved to do the rest of the cleaning the same way she always did. She cleans Takuru's old room every day. My gosh, this girl. She's definitely in love, and she probably just doesn't know if it's familiar love, romantic love, or some very horrifying mix of the two. Nothing had changed in the room since Miyashiro had left. It was still filled with books, papers, and DVDs. Home was the place where Kurusu felt the most calm and relaxed. It was where she could be herself, be with her family. Her favorite time of day was after dinner. It wasn't that she was uncomfortable with Hekiko, but her personality was such that she always felt like she had to put her job first. And she liked the role she had at home with her family more than she liked the role she had in the outside world. That's a mood, and that's a good mood. That's awesome. It's got to be hard, though, because she's got to live independently. Like, she probably has to build herself into a career. Because, like, it's harder and harder these days to imagine people being able to be, like, a stay-at-home mom or a housewife. And I also don't get the feeling Kurusu's the kind of person to sit back and, like, you know, stay and maintain a home. She loves that, but she also feels like she's independent. And that's a hard thing to strike a balance between and not, like, you know, lose yourself. Like, what she's explaining is that she just feels like she can't be herself. She has to put the job, she has to put the forward-facing, like, stuff out there more. So the real her, the part of her that she, like, cherishes and really loves, only gets to express itself when she's cooking dinner and having time with the family after the meal. So of course it's her favorite part of the day. It's kind of like how I view the channel, actually. Like, it's not like it's the only time I get to be myself, but it's probably one of the best times I get to be myself. I get to just be excited about stuff that I'm excited about that I can't talk about to most people. It's a time where I get to just talk to other people who I know are interested in listening. And the best thing about that is I know you're interested because you're still here. If you were bored or didn't care, you'd be gone. And so, like, I kind of know that you're there. And if for some reason I'm talking to someone who's, like, on the fence, cool. I'm glad you're here for while you're here. And if you leave, you know, you'll be missed, but I'm glad you were here while you were here. And then and there's also that thing where, like, I could be talking to the future. Maybe 10 years after this video has been uploaded, someone else stumbles upon it, and, like, you've been able to join me for this journey like a time capsule. And, like, yeah, my life's moved on from here. Like, who knows? Ideally, I'm still making videos, but, like, even if I'm not, even if something terrible happened and I just was gone, like, this stuff would be here. And that's cool. Because it's, like, capturing and letting me be me. Or just a little bit sometimes. As she cleaned the bookshelf, she saw a scrapbook. She'd seen it many times before, but she put it on the desk and started to flip through the pages.
Takuru.
The book was filled with information on urban legends and crimes that had taken place in Shibuya. On the last page was a collection of magazines and newspaper articles. The magazine articles were dated about 6 months ago, just before Miyashiro had left home. And the newspaper article from 6 years ago was about the Shibuya earthquake. This is why Miyashiro had left home and gone to live at Miyashita Park.
日付が6年前の事件とぴったり一致してるんだ。事件も自殺っぽいっていう内容はともかく猟奇的だという点で同じ。
It's kind of interesting having a memory of her point of view and seeing him. That's kind of cool.
あなた、殺されますよ。宮代拓先輩。
Interesting. And the thing is, that happened independently of the investigation. Something might be coming for him, or maybe Takuru is getting involved in something. As his older sister, she had to protect her little brother. But...
私は...
Okay, no, I mean, he seems to be kind of rejecting that protectiveness. Maybe he wanted to get away from it for some reason. Can I face what happened 6 years ago? There was a knock at the door. She tried to take a few deep breaths to calm herself before she spoke.
誰？
俺だ。入るぞ。何泣きそうな顔してんだ？
Because she is? She quickly put her hand to her face. She wasn't crying. She took a quick breath to help her focus.
どうしたの？
飯ん時、ちょっと変だったろ、お前。
Again, I aspire to be a man like Sakuma. It's like Sakuma is like me in 20 years. I'll be so happy.
そう？
Sakuma looked at the scrapbook on the desk.
やっぱあいつがまた何かやらかしたのか。
His voice was a father's. Kurusu put the scrapbook back on the shelf.
うん。あ、いや、またやらかしそうというか。
相変わらずだな。ラブホテルで警察にお世話になった後、お前ちゃんと止めたんだろ？
So he's also concerned, but kind of pushing for the same thing.
うん。
Kurusu nodded, remembering what had happened in the hallway that day.
それでも、なんかやめそうになくて。
Right.
珍しいな。あいつがお前に逆らうなんて。
それは、私がきちんと。
なんだ。どうしたんだ？
So she's worried she hasn't pushed hard enough, maybe. She doesn't want to push him away. So she's terrified of pushing too hard. But she's also terrified of leaving him to his own devices because of what could happen and how he might be getting caught up in something actually dangerous. That's a tough place to be. Takuma sensed that something was wrong with Kurusu and sat down on the bed. He motioned for her to speak.
父さん、あの子ってどうやって私じゃなくてうちに馴染んだの？ほら、長期昏睡から目覚めてリハビリ始めた時は全然心を開いてなかったでしょ？
それを言ったら、ユイとユウともそうだろう。言っとくけど、お前もそうだったぞ。
私の話はいいから。
I mean, but it matters. You matter, and how you were and how you felt. That could be really helpful in helping you understand why he opened up.
ああ、前のこと覚えてねえな。だいたいそんなのちゃんとしたきっかけなんかあんのか。
But he crossed his arms and seemed to be trying to remember the past. Soon after?
ああ、いつ馴染んだかなんてわかんねえけど、初めて一緒に夕飯食った日は覚えてるわ。
あ。
Kurusu realized that she remembered too. Even after he started his physical therapy and learned to walk again, for a while he kept eating dinner alone in his room. By the way, I will say that I think I've mentioned this before, but I think it's relevant to point out here. So, whatever injury he had where he had to learn to walk again, you gotta remember, in the past, he was carrying, oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget her name. Onoa? Yeah, I think it is Onoa. He was carrying her. So he either was injured and just kept pushing himself too hard, or something happened later, or maybe his memory isn't accurate to what actually happened. But I can sympathize, because I had a bad accident when I was in high school, and I actually was injured so badly, and recovery took so long. I was on crutches for so long. I had to relearn how to walk. It wasn't necessarily I've forgotten how to use my legs, but more of I had to slowly break my legs back into being used. And so I had to go through physical therapy for months, and that was so painful. It hurts because you have to break through the scar tissue, and you have to push your body to do something that it has basically forgotten how to do. Sakuma had told him that everyone was supposed to meet and talk after dinner, but he'd used his poor health as an excuse to stay in his room.
私も覚えてる。 そういえば、あれってなんでだったの？
ああ、多分な。お前の単価だよ。
Oh.
あいつのリハビリ手伝ってたろ。家族なんだから私が面倒を見るっつって。
Aw.
うん。
Miyashiro had refused, but she told him there was no reason for him to be embarrassed now. She'd been in charge of cleaning his catheter when he was in a coma, after all. She cleaned his catheter? Good grief. Yeah, no wonder she's like, you can't be embarrassed anymore. I've seen it all.
そっから前にも増してつきっきりで。昔からだ。お前のブラコンぶりは。
Oh my gosh.
だから、違うって言ってるでしょ。
んで、あいつが問題なく日常生活できるようになって、そろそろ学校も大丈夫じゃないかって、お前が俺に相談持ちかけたとき、なんて言ったか覚えてるか？
うん？
Kurusu tried to think, but she couldn't remember herself saying anything special.
小学生の時、学校にあまり行っていなかったって言うけど、私が行けるようにする。
Okay.
もしあの子をいじめるやつがいたら、私がやり返してやる。
That's cute.
嘘でしょ？
No, that sounds like you. You might not say the same words, but you'd absolutely do it. She didn't remember that at all.
本当だよ。さっきユイも言ってたじゃないか。明らかに昔のお前の影響だ。今以上にとんがってたからな。
Oh, that's terrifying.
それをあいつは部屋の外で聞いてたんだよ。その日の夕飯からだ。あいつが一緒に食べるようになったのが。
That's cool. Good job, Kurusu.
まあ、結局あいつはあまり学校には行かなかったけどな。それでも保健室登校で卒業できたのはお前のしごきの成果だろう。
Yeah. As she listened to Sakuma's words, she could feel the terror that had been building inside her start to fade away. Instead, she felt a mixture of confidence, nostalgia, and joy.
そんなこと、私言ったかな？
I mean, it sounds like you.
ののね
Kurusu seems the type who would be like, you know, I will protect those who cannot protect themselves. Like she's like a warrior, in the sense that like she'll fight for people, for others.
何してんの？
そっちこそ二人でどうした？
Yeah. What's everyone doing? What's anyone doing?
ユウのトイレ。そしたら声が聞こえたから。
そう。
She smiled a little at Yuto's embarrassment. He couldn't go to the bathroom on his own at night. He'd always been shy and spent most of his time clinging to Yui, but the earthquake had given him mild scotophobia too. Scotophobia. I'm guessing that has something to do with being alone. Fear of the dark and a type of specific phobia. A specific phobia is a type of mental disorder where the subject exhibits an abnormal mental or physiological rejection toward a specific object or situation, such as agoraphobia, the fear of heights, or trypanophobia, the fear of needles. No, trypanophobia. Scotophobia is commonly found in small children, and the primary cause of it are usually due to them experiencing trauma in a dark place or being unable to control the instinctual fear that humans, being non-nocturnal creatures, have of the dark. Yeah, so like that could be something you could face if like in the earthquake he was pinned and trapped in the dark for an extended period of time, and like that would be a reason why he would end up reliving that every time he was somewhere dark. I had a minor phobia. I think I've gotten over it, and I wouldn't call it a phobia because it was very irrational, but it wasn't like controlling me per se. But I had a really bad encounter with a wasp when I was growing up, and ever since then I've really had a strong aversion to them, to the point where they would like I would basically like escape if one started flying too close to me. I'd just be like, nope, I'm gone, see ya. I've gotten a lot better since then, where I can kind of tolerate them, but I still like get the heebie-jeebies, like that creeping feeling when they're around.
ねえ、二人はタクルに帰ってきてほしい？
当たり前じゃん。家族だもん。
Aw.
うん。
っていうか、タクル兄の掃除当番全部肩代わりしてるの私とユウだから、早く返してもらわないと。
Yep, that's fair too. That's very fair.
あと、買い出し当番も。
ああ、それもだ。忘れてた。
But she's about to make a very dangerous promise here, isn't she? Kurusu laughed and looked at her missing brother's room and her family. There was no changing what happened 6 years ago now.
ゆい。ユウトをいじめるやつがいたら、やり返してやりなさい。
もちろん。
She would just have to protect her family so that they could live together again. That's a big promise. Kurusu took out her smartphone and left the room, leaving her uncertainty behind. I say it's a big promise because he has his own agency. He chose to leave for a reason. She's basically committing to trying to drag him back here to be a family, which would be good for him in every possible way I can think of. But I don't have full context of why he left. And anytime you try and force somebody to do something, it tends to backfire. Especially when they're like that old, so. Okay. Oh no, why is she like waiting outside the bathroom for him? Sedeka was sitting with her legs crossed on the cold floor, looking up at me. I put my ear up to the door and tried to see if anyone was outside.
大丈夫。誰もいない。
じゃあ、もう諦めていこうよ。さすがにお尻が限界。
I bet. What are you two doing?
一石舞踏か。数年前のニュースだったと思うんだけど、トイレの鍵が壊れて2日間くらい閉じ込められた人がいて。
Why would you bring that story up?
救出された時に閉じ込められてどうでしたかって聞かれて、こう答えたんだ。トイレがあってよかったって。
I'm glad. I would have been glad to.
私たちは二人だからトイレできないじゃん。
I mean, you can, but I get the point. Grr. Dang it, she's right for once. But she had a point. I was reaching my mental limits too. It was past 10 now, which meant we'd spent more than 2 hours locked inside the bathroom. We were on the 5th floor of the AH Tokyo General Hospital in the women's toilet near the lobby. I gotcha. I see. Okay, we are going to stop here. Again, I have to make it a bit of a shorter episode. I feel like that was actually not a bad snippet to make a single episode about. It was really cool. I got to share a lot of personal stuff, but it was also like impactful to the plot. And now we're in this like he's sneaking into the hospital, maybe to try and find that weirdness they saw way back in the day. So let's save any investigations we have because we know this place is very meaningful. I'm really excited to see what's going to be in here. Ideally, if I can do things right next week, I'll have more time to do recordings. I'm on a good track record so far, even if this one's a bit on the crunchier side, but it should allow me to get a jump on next week's episodes, meaning I have more flexibility and should be able to be more selective on the nights I get to record. Basically, it's just me trying to adapt to my new situation, but it is time for me to go to sleep. Thank you so much for being here today. Hope you have a fantastic day. This should be the start of your weekend, so I hope you have a good one. If you're facing anything crazy, like the world's kind of a crazy place right now, if you're facing all of that, like I wish you the best. But even if like you're just having a personal thing going on and you just are taking a quick break and spending it with me, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully videos like this help make your day a little bit better. And I really appreciate those of you who make my day a little bit better when you support the channel directly, being a channel member or patron on Patreon. Like, yeah, I'm not a huge channel and it's not like it's making me like sustainable, but it's every little bit helps. It lets me get art for the channel. It helps just invest a little bit in the games I'm getting and like just kind of the content we're making for the future. By the way, when this comes out, unless I had a catastrophic problem, I should have been able to do the wrap party for Patrika and announce what the new series is on Wednesdays. I'm not going to say here just in case I didn't actually announce it, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited because the choice we made for the reasons I made, which are very complex, I'm sure I'll go over when the time comes. But basically, we're gonna have some pretty solid like hitters on the channel going at the same time. So yeah, I actually anticipate that it's gonna be a very busy summer for us. I think it's gonna be pretty exciting. So thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing your comments and hearing what you thought of today's episode and future episodes. So until next video, watching me up and see me in next. I'll see you there.